What's happening, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for making time. I know you're a busy man. We're glad to have you, and I know you're about ready to catch your flight here in just a little bit, so we won't keep you on too long. But since Austin and I were definitely promoting the hell out of you coming on the show, I'm going to have Austin kick off and ask you the first question.
Well, first of all,
real quick, I might lose you guys because I'm in a bad area. I'm about to get out of my car and switch to cell phone. So if it loses y'all, I'll call right back. But just want to give you a heads up on that.
Sure.
Appreciate it. No worries.
Well, speaking of being busy right now, do you like being busy? I mean, this is something you like to you like to be a part of.
Man, yeah, I'd be crazy not to. I love being busy. So and I can always be busier. So that's a big key. I don't mind the busy side. It gets frustrated like everything else, but it's what I want to do, so I can never complain about ever being too busy.
So starting it off, I mean, from the bat, WildKat, what gave you the idea to actually start a training school?
It was something I wanted to do for a really long time, and I talked about it with Orlando Jordan because Orlando was one of my close friends for a long time, still is, but something me and Orlando talked about a lot, and just waiting for the time, because Orlando was in New Orleans a lot, so I'd always talk to him, and we always discuss, both opening a school, being friends, and he doesn't get enough credit at being the professional wrestler that he is, man. He's so good when he teaches guys in and out the ring. He's a phenomenal athlete and wrestler. So when he ended up moving to New Orleans, I was like, that was the perfect opportunity for us to open a school then. And so we originally, like I said, he was my original business partner. So we did that, and about 3 to 4 months into it, he got the offer to go to Australia. So we ended up switching that, and I just took over WildKat here permanently, and he went to Australia and did his thing there. But that was, the original idea of WildKat. It was just something me and him would sit around and talk about sometimes.
Nice. And getting into the world of professional wrestling, I mean, what attracted you to want to actually get into doing something like this, where you're actually putting your body on the line every night? And I mean, it's just obviously it does something for everybody differently. So I mean, what was it that kind of caught your interest into pursuing a career in professional wrestling?
It's all I ever wanted to do from the time I was a baby. You know what I'm saying? My earliest memory, I got to tell in every interview is 3 years old.
Yep. Awesome. And who were some of your heroes growing up?
Of course, Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig. Those were my two favorite wrestlers as a kid. Besides, of course, the showmanship with guys like Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake and those guys. I loved watching those guys. But as I got a little older and kind of went into my teenage years and started really, analyzing the business more, it was really Kurt Hennig's work and Rick Rude's work that took over until the ECW era came. When the ECW era came, there was nothing more I wanted to do than be in ECW. It just seeing those guys and seeing their work rate and, how off the chart it was, it just made me go crazy. And it's something that I was just, so hyped up about. I would sit there and I'd record the shows on my VHS tapes, and I'd watch them over and over and over and over again. It was just, you couldn't get me away out that ECW atmosphere, Now,
this is a perfect time to even go into this. Speaking of ECW, December 28th, Extreme Rising is actually going to be at the old ECW arena. And, it's going to be you versus Matt Hardy. And we've seen the encounters you guys had in the past, and it has not been pretty. It's always been brutal. And I don't know. What's your plan going into this match against Matt Hardy at 28th?
I wouldn't say I don't have a set plan other than I've just been busting my ass and working super hard and getting better and plan on bringing the fight. You see, when you go to ECW Arena, it's a whole, not just the ECW Arena, when you go to Philadelphia, it's a whole different atmosphere than anywhere else. Those fans and that wrestling atmosphere is like no other place in the world. So you have to really bring it to be up there. And I just go into it with the mindset of, look, I'm going in there to do my part. I'm going there to kill. I'm going there to do the best I can do and make sure that every fan that bought a ticket, whether they come to see Luke Hawx or they come to see somebody else, I want them to leave and I want them to talk about Luke Hawx, good or bad.
Any publicity is good publicity, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And at this point, I mean, you actually have gotten the chance to work with some big names over in the area, in not just WildKat, but I mean traveling around. Obviously, you going into Extreme Rising, fighting Matt Hardy. Who were some of your should I say favorite? Well, some of the people that you actually enjoyed working with, and some maybe you didn't really enjoy working with. Maybe I don't know if I should say didn't enjoy, but who were some of your favorite people to work with?
I love the stuff with Matt because it's so passionate, and we're both so passionate about what we do. You know, it's personal. It's a heated rivalry, but it's something that it brings out the best in you. And when you have something you're so passionate about, and you know, for whatever reason, for because you don't like somebody, because of where it's at, or because you know somebody doesn't like you, you always bring out a different side of you than you would see as where you're just going to some indie show and wrestling, you know, Joe Blow. Even if you're wrestling, you know, even if Joe Blow's a big name. So when you have something, like I say, a rivalry, you always end up getting more out of what you would out of a normal match. So I definitely have to say the stuff with Matt I enjoy because it just revs me up. You know, I love talking crap on Twitter, on Facebook, going back and forth, and you know, that's me. It's me. I'm a showman, so I like to be that Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali out there just, you know, running my mouth and saying it. But the thing is, I'm not just talking crap because I can back it up. So, but there's a lot of guys I enjoyed being there with. I mean, I always enjoyed wrestling Vic Grimes when I could. I liked working with Mike Dell, with the place me and Mike Dell worked. Let's see, who else? There's so many guys. It's such a tough question because there's so many good guys out there that even. Yeah, and then you get in the ring with some of these guys, and it really pushes. Stevie Richards. I mean, Stevie Richards is another one. He really, you know, he just brings out the best in you. So you get in there with some of these guys, and they really push you that extra mile. And sometimes you need that because you get so caught up working, you know, with people you're used to working with. Steve Anthony, he's another good guy. You know, Steve Anthony, a lot of people don't know who he is, but a lot of people should know because this guy's one of the best unsigned talents out there. And, you know, he's been in Japan. He was Harley Race's head trainer. But he's so good. So whenever I have a good match with Steve, excuse me, guys. I'm dropping my phone. Whenever I have a match with Steve, you know, we really just bring out the best of each other. So there's just, I mean, those are some of my favorites I would say to work with.
Now, what, between this rivalry you have with Matt Hardy, what actually started this off for people that don't know?
Well, if they don't know, they must live in a cave or not have the internet or TV or something.
Yeah.
But in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, got involved with a match with Matt and Shane Douglas, and everybody knows that I cannot personally stand Shane Douglas, and professionally can't stand him either. But Matt and Shane were wrestling, and I went out to interfere in Shane's match, and Matt just happened to be in the way, and I pushed Matt off the top rope, and one thing led to another. He came down on his head on the concrete floor, split his head open, actually got a really bad concussion, knocked him out for like 45 minutes. He threw up, went into convulsions outside the ring. They had to get him out of there in the ambulance, and it was a really, really bad thing. So that was really what started off the feud between me and Matt. You know, it was something that wasn't planned. It wasn't like, hey, we got this storyline, we want to do this with you and Matt, or we're writing the script up for you. What it was I hurt Matt, so Matt took it personally, and which is fine, but it ended up turning into what it is now, which we've been wrestling all over and just beating the hell out of each other.
And what topped that off is that he slapped your son. So I imagine, you know, you wouldn't really like that too much, you know?
No, of course not. I mean, my kid's a tough kid, but, you know, you don't put your hands on a kid. That's one thing else. He's a minor. So here's how I feel about that. Yeah, he's 14 years old. He's 15 now, but he was 14 when Matt slapped him. So, you know, yeah, my kid mouthed it off to him, but of course it's my kid. So why wouldn't my kid, you know, my kid's not going to go, oh, Matt Hardy's the best. You know, my son's going to take up for me. So, yeah, you know, so again, my kid mouthed it off to him, but still in all, he's a minor. So a lot of people were unhappy with that. And I actually got some messages, and even at the event that when that happened, when some of the guys found out, you know, they wanted to call the police on Matt. And I said, you know, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it because, you know, they're like, well, I don't care, you know, how it happened, but it's wrong because he shouldn't put his hands on a minor. So, you know, it happened. So what? So, you know, like I said, my son's a big boy. I'm a big man, so I'll take care of it, and I have taken care of it.
You definitely take
people
that,
really
yeah,
get emotionally invested in those type of stories when you include the family. It really brings people in to see, and they really get heated with that. That's actually a good idea to bring them in if you want to get that much heat, and I think that worked for you guys.
Right.
You definitely,
Sorry, go ahead,
definitely took care of the Matt Hardy problem, because the matches you guys had were so brutal matches, and I can't imagine what we're going to see on December 28th.
Yeah, it's because, like I said, it's going to be in a whole different atmosphere. I mean, everywhere we've been has been sold out, 1,000 plus. Where we main evented every show, so and the atmosphere has there been crazy. Especially, of course, my favorite one was that WildKat. So going into Philadelphia, it's a whole different ball game. I get asked about, you think they're going to boo you? They think they're going to cheer you? And my answer is always the same. They buy their tickets. Fans buy their tickets, so they got the right to do whatever they want. They want to boo me. They want to cheer me. I don't care. My job is just to go there, do the best I can do, and hope that I make those people leave feeling like they got their money worth. And
besides being a professional wrestler, you're really big into acting. And you've been in, and I've seen this in your, the Bill Apter interview you did a couple of weeks ago or last week, that you've showcased more movies than any wrestler, ever, I think. I don't know. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, that's it. I'm mostly a stuntman, but I'm also an actor. I get a lot of small acting roles from stunts, so I get a lot of character roles, more like, the bad guy or the tough guy or the guy at the bar. No main roles. I'm not The Rock or anything. Would I like to be that big down the line? Yeah. But, of course, wrestling's my first love, and wrestling's where my passion is. It's really nice to do the movie stuff. I enjoy it. I love it. I love being a stuntman. I love doing the acting roles in these movies. I just finished a role for Revolution that aired on the second season. I think it was I don't remember if it was the third or fourth episode. I'm in Homefront, which is in theaters now with Jason Statham. I got a nice little hitman role in that.
I was just about to ask you about that one.
Yeah, so I got that going on, which is out right now, and it's a really good movie. It's actually Statham's best work. So I hope people go see it. And not just because I'm in it, it's just because, I think people get that stigma, pretty much every Jason Statham movie is the same. And this one's, I would say it's a lot different. And it's got a lot of drama and suspense to it. And it's not the ridiculous fight scenes that you're used to, where where the car flips on the transporter, where there's a bomb on the bottom of the car, and he goes up a ramp and flips the car in the air and knocks it off a crane. And so it doesn't have that unrealistic side to it. The movie's very realistic, and the fight scenes in it are really, really good. So I would definitely recommend going to check out this, because it definitely Statham's best work. I got I got a nice little role in it, and I enjoyed working on it. So there's a lot of things. I just filmed 2 roles for 2 TV shows coming out next year. I'm actually headed up to Virginia. That's where I'm flying to. I got to go to Virginia. I'm playing a werewolf for a Discovery Channel show. So, I stay really busy. Besides my wrestling, I stay really busy with the acting and the stunts.
Now, if you had the opportunity to step in the ring, and I think you might have gotten this question before, possibly, but who would you consider to be your dream opponent?
It's another tough question, man. There's so many good guys out there I like to work with. And, of course, there's guys that passed that I'll never get the opportunity to. So it's really... It's kind of hard to always.
I'd like to see an intermatch with CM Punk, actually.
Man, I would love to work with Punk. I've known Punk a long time. I've been friends with Punk for a very long time. So Punk's a good guy I'd like to work with. I like to work with Ziggler. I like to work with Tyson Kidd. The guys that are out there on the circuit today. There's a lot of good guys that I'd like to mix up with. And I'd like to hook up with Booker T before he hangs it up. Tracy Smothers before he hangs up. Tracy Smothers is the guy I always wanted to work with, just because he's a machine, man. And I don't think Tracy gets enough credit for the stuff, for his work rate, So he never really, Tracy never made it to the big time. He was always around. He always had a job somewhere. But I appreciate the guys like that. So, he's a guy I'd really like to get in the ring with before Tracy hangs it up. Like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that I want to work with. And I think I will. I got a long way to go. My career is just starting to take off. I've been in the game 14 years, but it's just really starting to blossom. So I think before it's said and done, you'll get to see me in there with a lot of top guys.
And getting the chance to work with a legend such as Percy Pringle, is there any particular story maybe you care to share about your time working with him? I mean, I know he worked with you very briefly. I don't know exactly how long, but I know you know him pretty well. So would that be okay to ask?
He didn't work with me very briefly. I mean, Percy's somebody I know my whole career and, almost my whole life. I miss him, man, because he was such a big part of my career and helping me out. When we started up WildKat, he was, one of the first people I talked to, and he was one of the first people who wanted to help get WildKat rolling. And then, it was so many times that he came to our locker room and he told us, we had the best thing going today. He said, he liked going to NW Hollywood with Dave Marquez at the time, and he would say, that was his other favorite thing to do. But he would tell me, you have to, and he'd tell my guys, this is the best locker room, best crew, and best shows he does, and he does it because he enjoys to. He didn't come, I can tell you, he didn't come to us looking for payday. He came to me because of, he was like my uncle, so I used to call him uncle. So he would come to me, and he just wanted to see us do well, and he really enjoyed putting his time in and working with my guys. And that's hard to find a lot in the wrestling business, as established as a guy is like that. And he was a good person. He's somebody that's been around everywhere, and like Austin had mentioned, I heard Austin mention earlier that, he got his start in the South, and that's where he really made his mark, and it was in the Texas area, for WCCW with Divine Erics.
Yep.
So, so it's definitely a major honor. He was supposed to be at WildKat the week before he passed away, man. We had a show that Friday night, and he was supposed to be, and he passed away a few days later. But he called me and told me that he just had so much going on, and what it was, he was sick. He just didn't want to tell me he was sick. So, which, he was fine, and I'm sure he didn't want us to worry. And he does always have a lot of stuff going on, because that was the weekend of the Gulf South reunion, and he asked if I mind if he stayed, if he sat this WildKat show out. And, of course, what am I going to say? Yeah, don't, come. Yeah, of course, I wanted him to just sit out, take care of his business, and we said we'd catch him on the next one. And then
do you actually stay in contact with Daniel?
Yeah, me and Daniel talk on Facebook a lot. But personally, I can tell you a funny story if you want to hear a funny story about it. When I was about 15 years old, a lot of people don't know I grew up, I was really homeless, came from a really bad alcoholic, drug addict family. I grew up in a boys' home, and then I got adopted, and then I had my son young in high school, and I got married young, and when I was living with her and her parents, her mom, they were Spanish, so they had real strict rules. They wasn't allowed to be on the phone, wasn't allowed to be with their friends, wasn't allowed to do things outside her house. Her mom was really strict, my ex. So I'd always get calls when Percy was in WWE. I'd get calls at like 3, 4 in the morning on the house phone. This is before cell phones. So I'd get calls on the house phone, and when my mother-in-law, who barely speaks English, would pick up the phone, she'd hear, "Oh, yes, oh," so it would be Paul calling my house and Crank calling my house in the middle of the night while they're on the road traveling to shows, and then she'd come get me, and she'd be on the phone, and she'd be pissed, man. I'm thinking I'm about to get kicked out of my mother-in-law's place, and it would cause so much problems. And I'd pick up the phone, and it'd be Percy, and he'd be, "Oh, yes," he called my real name's Oren, so he always called me Orkin. And he'd say, "Orkin, what are you doing?" And I'm thinking, God, it's so cool to have Paul Bear call my house, because he's on TV every week and pay-per-views and this and that. And at the same time, I'm going, holy shit, I'm about to lose. I'm not going to have a place to stay, because my mom was going to kick me out of the house. So it was really, but it was such a cool thing to have somebody like that calling me at such a young age and messing with me and, just having me be a part of the business. So it was a lovely thing, man.
But how did you actually get to start knowing him? Like, how'd you when was the first time you met him?
From indie shows here.
Indie shows, okay.
Yeah, and he would call me and mess with me before I ever met him. So I talked to him on the phone and had that relationship with him before I even met him because through some of the indie guys, mostly through his cousin, Marcel Pringle. So Marcel had seen me around at shows and would always talk to me, and I told him I wanted to get in the business, so they were trying to help me out getting in the business. I was young, so I wasn't ready to get in the business yet, but there were talks about trying to put me in as a referee and this and that before I was of age, and so I'd always had my foot in the door with that, because I was always the guy that when the show would come around, I was the guy hanging out by the back door trying to carry guys' bags, trying to help set up the ring, trying to do whatever I could to be a part of the show. So that's how I really got my foot in the door. Yeah, it is. I'm lucky, man. I got blessed, and it's stories that I'll be able to tell for the rest of my life, and something I get to cherish, something that a lot of other people will never get to do. So I'm very happy and blessed about it.
How
let me ask you now. Go ahead, Austin.
You can go ahead. I'm sorry.
One at a time.
I was just going to ask. I mean, with the success success of WildKat. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things, and continued success for your company.
Thank you.
Do I dare ask? I mean, are there aspirations for you to ever really attempt to go to WWE or TNA or even Ring of Honor? I mean,
well,
you're doing okay now.
I'm doing great now. But of course, my ultimate goal is to be with WWE. That's where I want to be. I love WWE. I love working there. I love having a good working relationship with them. I love doing all the stuff I do with them. So it's just one of the things your goal should be to be in WWE. I feel unless you're just happy being an indie guy. I don't want to just be an indie guy. I want that WWE. Yeah, I want to be that WWE guy. And then even if I'm not up there forever, where I really like to be is, I like to go to WWE. I like to work there for as long as I can. And then I would like to move on to an office position where I can help more guys, because I'm really involved in the training aspect and helping guys and spotting talent. And I love wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I love wrestling. But you can only wrestle for so long. So, I don't know how long.
We even had one of your we actually had one of your old pals with us on here. Austin set this one up. Had to be the funniest show I think we've hosted ever, because I couldn't understand a damn thing. Buku Now. I could not understand a word the man was saying, but I was laughing the whole time because it was just weird. But it was fun. Yeah. I give credit where credit was due. It was a fun interview.
Yeah, he's hilarious, man. Buku is the man. So, and he's one of my guys that, I promise he'll go far in wrestling business, because he loves it and he's very passionate about it, and he works very hard to try and be the best he can be. And as long as you do that, man, there's no stopping you in this game.
And doesn't he actually drive whenever you guys train, from Baton Rouge to New Orleans every single, I think it's like Tuesdays and Saturdays?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Yeah, he drives an hour and a half to practice every day. So.
Wow.
It just goes to show you how many people got excuses. You got people that live 15 minutes away and can't make it. And he's always early. He always leaves late. Oh, excuse me. So, like I said, there's not enough good things I could say about the kid, man. He's going to go far in the business.
Like I was saying with you,
it was actually pretty funny, because we actually had Kurt Matthews listening in to the interview, and I tried to chime in to see, talk to him for a second. He said, "God, this is the worst interview I've ever heard in my life." Didn't realize it was him, because he was laughing about it later after the interview was over. But Austin actually educated me on the fact that those two were actually in a beef at that time. So
yeah, another good worker, Kurt Matthews, another hard worker that's coming a long way. So he's somebody who
absolutely
came to me and wrestled for a few years beforehand, but never had proper training, and he really wanted to get better. So he wanted to be a part of WildKat, and he proved himself to us and showed us how hard he wanted to work. So he's been doing great. He's definitely came a long way. I'm proud of Kurt Matthews also.
Like I was saying, with you going to WWE, I don't understand. I've always wanted to see you there. Like you and Byron Wilcott, I want to see there. I mean, I just don't know why it hasn't happened yet.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I've had opportunities to go. It's never right now. It hasn't been right. Mm-hmm. So, and I think down the line, like I said, I got a really good relationship with him, and it's something that I am grateful for, because they've always been extremely professional. I don't understand these guys who go there and hate their time there, because it's a business. You're paying, whether you go to developmental or TV, you're getting paid to do something that millions of other people would want to do. And so if you go there and you don't appreciate that. Yeah, I did an interview the other day with Mike Johnson at Pro Wrestling Insider, and one of the things I brought up, I was in England, and I met a guy who just got released from developmental. He was there for, I think, a year and a half, 2 years. So I said, man, how'd you like your time down there? He said, worst experience of my life. I was so ready to be gone. I'm so happy to be back home. I'm so happy to be out of there. And I'm thinking,
why did he go?
What a piece of crap. Thank God that you're gone. You know how many guys would kill for that opportunity? You're getting paid to train, to work out, and to potentially be a superstar and make a lot of money in this business, and you're complaining about it while guys are sleeping in their car and working 2 or 3 jobs and going to the gym and driving across country just trying to get the name out. And here you are, a spoiled brat, getting paid to train, to wrestle, to go to the gym, to eat right, and you're telling me it's the worst experience of your life because you had to work hard, because maybe somebody's yelling at you because you don't like it, because guys are on your ass. Well, here's the thing. It's a business. you're lucky. You're lucky you have that opportunity. So it really, it rubs me the wrong way when I see guys have this negative attitude about, oh, yeah, you know, they yelled at me, or this guy's a jerk, this coach is a jerk, he didn't treat me good, or, well, he doesn't have to treat you good. You know, his goal is to make you a better person and a better athlete. So if you're not doing what it takes to be that athlete or to be that superstar, then you don't deserve to be there.
And it's like if you don't, you get out what you put into it, you know. And if you don't put in the stuff, I mean, you're in WWE. It's a top place in this world for professional wrestling. It's just, and I'm not in it. I shouldn't have the right to say anything, but if you're doing something and you're being, like you just said, getting paid to train, why not? You know?
Right. Exactly. So it's just, you know, the guys like that. It's just. And there's a lot of them in the business, man. They want it. They just want to go. I see it all the time running the school. I get guys running the school is a very tough business. WildKat's doing good, but it's a roller coaster ride. Sometimes we do good, sometimes we do bad because it's hard to keep guys in. And guys come in there and they tell me for an hour, 2 hours, man, I want to be a pro wrestler. This is my whole life. I want to be a superstar. It's all I ever wanted to do. And I looked up schools, and the closest school was in New York and this and that. But now it's in my backyard, and I can't wait to train. And then, you know, as soon as they start training, they quit like 15 minutes later and ready to go home and say, I can't do this. This isn't for me. But they just told me for 2 hours how this was their lifelong goal, and they think they're going to come in and raise their arms up and down, and the fire poles are going to explode like Cain. That's what they want. They want the lights, they want the TV, but they don't want to do the work to get there. Or I hear, you know, oh, well, I got a wife, or I got a kid, or I play flag football on Saturdays, or, you know, this or that, or I work a job. Well, you know what? That's what everybody else does, too. Everybody else has families. Everybody else has a job. Some people have 2 jobs. Guys like Matt Lancey, when Matt Lancey first started, okay, he worked a full-time job. He went to college full-time and had a girlfriend and still made time to go to the gym to work out and make his body right and to train at WildKat. So it's just a matter of how much do you want it, how bad you want it, how successful do you want to be. And you really see the transformation because here's the thing about Matt. Matt came into WildKat, which I commend guys like this because Matt came into WildKat with his old partner, Jack Ford. Jack loved wrestling. Jack wanted to be a wrestler. Matt, you know, watched wrestling here and there, didn't really care about it. He was just doing something to challenge himself, you know, because Jack was doing it. So, oh, yeah, well, I'll do that too. So, because Jack asked him to do it. Matt ends up falling in love with it. Jack ends up quitting. And here it is, Matt didn't have no aspirations to be a wrestler. Yeah, and then Matt ends up catching on, loving it, falling in love with it, and, you know, working harder than anybody else there. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how that works.
And you see it kind of with some other wrestlers that's wrestled. I mean, look at Sting or Goldberg. You know, the guys that didn't really necessarily enjoy, you know, have aspirations to actually be a wrestler, and going on to see how successful they were. And Matt Lancey's really good. I mean, I want to see him do so well, and because I've seen a ton of matches with him, you know, live and stuff like that. And I want him to do. I mean, he has a huge future and a bright future. I cannot wait to see what he's going to do in the future. You know. Yeah,
him and Stevie Richards just tore it up at the last show.
Wish I could have seen. Nice. I wasn't there. But,
yeah, they really tore the house down.
Let me ask you, Luke. Do you actually plan to? I mean, are the WildKat shows mainly right there in the area of Louisiana, or do you guys actually move them around they're different
here.
areas?
Would I grow and expand? You know, would I be interested in that? Only if somebody was interested in us doing it. I wouldn't put up the money to do it. I'm not interested in trying to be the next big thing. I'm not trying to compete with WWE or Ring of Honor or any other promotion. Although I do feel we're just as good. You know, we don't have the money that some of these companies got. I do feel we're just as good, though. But my goal is not to compete with these guys. My goal is to give guys a good place to work, my students who are working hard, and get these guys some exposure. That's what my goal is, just to get these guys out there and get their foot in the door and get used to wrestling in front of good crowds and teach them the right way of how to wrestle and, you know, make them the best they can be before they go on to someplace else like a WWE or Ring of Honor or anywhere else to go.
You got your head on right, and you definitely know where you want to go with this. I actually respect that, because some people say, well, I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I want to do this until I can't do it no more. But you're already planning to do it until you can't, and then of course transition into the office to where you, or even to train and start the next generation and keep the That's a good plan, man.
It is, man. At least in my heart, it is. It's something I enjoy. I love the business. So I always want to be around the business, even when I'm not going to be able to perform anymore. And I think I got a good match for finding talent and helping talent. So that's where I'd really like to be when it's all said and done.
I'd like to actually see you step in the ring with Austin one day.
Hey,
we'll see. We gotta get a couple of years underneath his age first. And then,
I mean, that's tough plan, But I'm starting right now. I'm actually doing jiu-jitsu. Getting all the ground root, work with wrestling in general, and hopefully
it's really good. I would tell you, Austin, I mean, just do as much athletic stuff as you can before you go into pro wrestling, because we also get a lot of guys who come in there and, they're like, hey, I want to be a wrestler. And I say, okay, not saying you have to do athletic stuff, but, if you want to come in there and do at least all right and not come in there and blow your load and think, have the hardest time of your life, start preparing now. There's no reason you can't play sports in school, or you can't work out, or you can't, get your body in shape. You got to come in looking to do the best you can do. So if you just sit on your couch and eat potato chips all day, and then you come in here when you're 18, it's going to be a whole new world for you. And of course, you're not going to want to do it because it's going to hurt, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be hard anyway. But it's going to be that much harder if you're not in any athletic shape whatsoever.
Totally agree with you. I mean, that's why I'm starting now with because I know I can't actually get into a training school with being, my age. I'm 16, but so I'm starting with jiu-jitsu, doing as much as I can with that before, and I mean, a few years when I turn 18. Or I was thinking, didn't you? I don't know if you said this. It might have been Mr. Brett. He said that where the parents consent, I can do it at like 17. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, we do it 17 with a parent's consent. Some places do, some places don't. I do it. But I also recommend, like I had a guy come in. I take a look at the guys first. I had a guy come in with his dad, and he wanted to sign up. He was 17, and they were ready to go. And again, he wasn't an athlete. He wasn't, he was still in high school. And his parents were ready to sign him up, and I told them I would be uncomfortable with it right now because of his, athletic background. So he doesn't have one. I would be more comfortable if he went and finished his last year of high school. He went and got some athletic, if he would try out for the football team or the wrestling team or baseball, whatever it be, start lifting weights, start running, and then come back next year once he's in shape. And, that way he's not just wasting his time and it's not wasting my time. Mm-hmm. So, I'm very honest with a lot of things. Well, I'm honest with everything. So, and something like that, I'm not here just to take somebody's money, because I genuinely want to see people do the best they can do.
Most definitely. And I hope to actually get a chance to actually go there. I mean, I would love to. I mean, I live in Homa, so, I mean, it's like an hour drive. I mean, I guess.
You're an hour away. Yep. You're an hour away, 45 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be definitely right there, so perfect,
Yeah,
we'd love to have you, man.
I would love to be there, without a doubt.
I mean, put in the time now that you can, Austin, and do what he said, get the athletic background building up so where you're prepared someone, you won't get winded getting into running the ropes or something,
Start running, about 4 or 5 days a week. Make sure you run a couple miles every day. Start trying to pay attention to what you eat. Go to the gym, work out. Get your little regiment down, and get used to doing everything. And because you'll always just get better as you get older. So the more you work, the more you start now. As you get older, you'll get better, and you'll learn more things, and you'll start working harder. And so yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Advice from a man who knows what he's talking about, Austin. There you go.
Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
I wish there was because I know with wrestling school, I mean, actually wrestling in sports, there's none in Homa. There's no place you can wrestle in Homa where with schools or high schools.
There's none in. Oh, you mean amateur wrestling?
Yeah, amateur. There's none in Homa. You can't even. There's
really?
No high school that offers that.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Damn.
No, and they tried to get it done with it was blacklist. They were trying to enforce it, kind of push it to the wrestling in high school. They didn't get it done. They didn't want to do it, And I hate that because I want to do it so badly, but with the time that I have left. But I have to settle for jiu-jitsu, blacklist. I don't mind it at all. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, jiu-jitsu is definitely something, any kind of martial art background, but jiu-jitsu definitely because of the throws and the tosses and all that stuff. So it's a good grappling. It's a good grab. It's very close to wrestling. So I was actually thinking about signing up my baby in a couple of years for jiu-jitsu. Because, again, down here we don't have any wrestling programs in New Orleans unless you go to a real private school, and I'm not spending all that money to send my kids to a private school. So I found out actually when he's about 4 or 5, starting to put him in jiu-jitsu.
Is there any jiu-jitsu places in New Orleans they offer?
Yeah, is there any what?
Is there any jiu-jitsu places they offer in New Orleans, like schools?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm not familiar with any around here because I'm not really in that network. But I'm I'd be willing to bet $100 or $1 million that there's plenty of jiu-jitsu schools around here. There has to be.
Now, Luke, are you actually going to be maybe attending or being around for WrestleMania next year?
Yeah, I'll be working with WWE for Mania. So I'm not wrestling in the show or anything, but I already talked to him about it. I'll be doing some stuff with him, and I got my hands in on all the indie promotions that are coming here. Because of course I work with the majority of the indie promotions anyway, with like Dragon Gate and Ring of Honor, and WrestleCon, like with so I also do a lot of stuff with all those guys already. So of course it's a natural fit. So when they come here, they're gonna want to do stuff with WildKat. They pay attention to all the stuff we do, so it's cool. Absolutely. That's very cool, and hopefully, if I'm able to go next spring, hopefully I'll run into you and be like, hey, Pipebomb Radio here. How you doing? Yeah, man, just say hi.
There you go. But if the fans want to actually keep up with what you're doing and your matches and so forth, obviously with the December 28th coming up, right around the corner, how can fans keep track of where you're going to be next, your matches coming up, and so forth? Of
course, YouTube.
Plug away.
YouTube, Luke Hawx, and WildKat Sports. That's Cat with a K. Check out WildKat Sports on YouTube. You can Google Luke Hawx. Facebook, Luke Hawx. On Facebook, Twitter, it's Luke Hawx 504, and WildKat Sports on Twitter. So check those out. We always plug stuff on there. We give out free videos all the time. We put a lot of our product out online for free, where most companies only put it out on DVD. We do both. We do DVD. We have some stuff on DVD that we're just starting to get out, and we also give, like I said, we give a lot of it away free online for the fans to view because I just think that's the right thing to do. We want our product seen by as many people possible. So, but just check us out and check us out at WildKatSports.com also.
There you go. And do you have any other matches before your match with Matt coming up, or is the next one you're going to be?
Let's see. No, actually, yeah, it's Christmas, so next week's Christmas. So I got next week off. I head to Virginia, like I said, for a few days, and then my son's got a big amateur wrestling tournament this weekend. He's got one tomorrow and this weekend. So then we just prepping for that and getting ready for that. And then the tournament, and then Extreme Rising, and then right after that, I head out to LA for MXPW, for MXPro.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'll be in LA for a few days with that. Let's see what else we got going on. We got Power Slam, Pro Wrestling in Mississippi right after that. And man, I don't know. Honestly, I don't
on the go, man.
Yeah. It's I got stuff every week. I'm pretty booked up right now. I just got stuff going through May. So, there's never a dull moment in my life. So, and plus everything that comes up in between. But like I said, I'm blessed.
I'm sorry, you actually are very blessed to stay as busy as you have been and just be as dedicated as you are. But I want to ask, in 2014, would you be open to returning for a part 2 with us?
Oh, hell yeah. Anytime, man.
Awesome. We got to set that up. I know either Austin or I will definitely reach out to you for that. We'd love to hear more in this case, and I know that you're about ready to travel. Austin, did you have any final questions for Luke today?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the future.
No problem. I'm actually I had to switch it. I told y'all. I don't know if I told y'all. I had to switch my flight to tomorrow. For
you didn't actually.
I ended up getting a Gambit magazine, which is really big in New Orleans, in the southern Louisiana. They called me and they want to do a big article on WildKat. So and I didn't film tomorrow anyway. Yeah, I didn't start filming until Thursday. So I changed my flight info to fly out on tomorrow morning instead of tonight, so I can do this interview with Gambit for WildKat.
Oh, well, there you go. See, that's cool. No, but you know what? Get as much out there. I don't think there's anybody around that I've spoken to or that we've had on the show that actually is not familiar with WildKat. So notoriety is definitely something they have, and people know about it, know it's one of the best places to go to, and they give nothing but props to your company, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Yeah, man. Thank you. We definitely
they gave great respect. Austin definitely he talks highly about you and wanting to train with you, and just the kind of good person that you are. So, like I said, I may not know you, but I've heard a lot of great things about you, and I'm just honored that you took time out of your schedule to sit down and chat with us today.
Yeah, man, and me and all my guys definitely appreciate the support. So that's what I'll say. We really, really appreciate any support we can get. So we love the fans, and I'm one of those guys that realize, without fans that we would be nothing. So just happy, man.
Amen to that, man. Can't go wrong with that. And well, I guess in this case, we'll just say we want to thank you for taking time today to sit down and chat with us. We will look to go ahead and get you in here for a part 2 in 2014 for sure. I know I definitely would love to have you back, and I know Austin would too. Other than that, we want to thank you for taking time today, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And now that you don't have to rush to the airport, I think you can just kind of sit back, have a beer, and just kind of kick back. No,
I'm actually going to WildKat to do that interview, so...
Oh, that's right. You did say that. My bad. I just missed that.
No. So, yeah.
All right, man. Well, you have yourself a good night.
You all too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.